Hi, Jessica Michaelenko here with your Letters Recommendation Workshop for 2020. Hopefully, like me, you are just feeling the joy and sheer excitement for our class of 2020 students just after senior week, and you've gotten the chance to see that our students are attending truly some of the top tier colleges and universities in the country from schools like Cornell, University of Notre Dame, CU Boulder, Colorado School of Mines, and so many institutions across the United States. We are so incredibly proud of these students. I am also so thankful that teachers last year truly stepped up and wrote incredible letters of recommendation that brought our students through the process. And I am incredibly excited to set this up for you all to propel 2021 into the college application season. This year, since we are all e-learning, I decided to break up our workshop into a few different parts so that you on your own time can find the part that you need the most support on and be able to just watch that video. And so in this section, we will simply go over the basics, the kind of what and why of the letter of recommendation. In the next section, we will talk about formatting the letter and then what to include, what not to include. And on your own, you could review the exemplar letters of recommendation that are in the Letters of Rec resources file that you are all shared on. If you search for files that are shared from me, you will find it there. And then in our last part, we will talk about uploading the letters of recommendation into Overgrad. So just to start, I like to think of the parts of the college application as two distinct categories. And so we have the quantitative side, or the numbers game, and then we have the qualitative side. And so the quantitative side, we've got the GPA essentially from the transcript, both unweighted and weighted. On the transcript, there are also some details about the rigor of coursework that a student takes, the actual classes that they take, etc. And then the other numbers that we've got to work with are SAT or ACT scores. I think it's really important to note this year that the college application process will look different than in years past. So many schools are deciding to go test optional. And so what that means is that they will no longer require the SAT or ACT score. And so that makes the other parts of the application so much more important, namely the letters of recommendation. So on the qualitative side, besides the letters of rec, we have the application itself, which asks typically a bunch of short answer questions, as well as demographic information, etc. We've also got a student's resume or activity list, and then their college essay. For the letters of recommendation, we want every student to have 2 teacher letters of recommendation, as well as 1 counselor. Many colleges require those 3 components in particular. Some colleges will allow a student to send more letters, some will not. And so that is something that we certainly assure students that they will at least have what is required. If they want to go above and beyond that, that is up to them. And that is truly something that they initiate on their own. So I love this statement from the Princeton Review. I think that it succinctly details the purpose of recommendation letters. So just to read from the slide, competitive colleges use the letter of recommendation to assess a student's passions, goals, and character. They do want more than just those numbers on a page. I would say, in speaking with many college admissions officers across the country this year, I would say, like, particularly when a student was denied or waitlisted, each college admissions officer pointed to the fact that most of those students were completely on par when we looked at statistics. And so they had the ACT or SAT score, they had the GPA, but it was those qualitative factors that either pushed them to admit or pushed them to deny or waitlist. So where we're at now is towards the end of this match game. And so luckily, even through eSchool, we were able to get about 90% of the class of 2021 responding to that survey that I shared out. And so they were able to request their letters of recommendation from teachers. You then shared your lists back with me. And so now myself and my team are in the process of communicating that to students. And what we are going to do is work with students to officially request you in their Overgrad accounts. And so if you're curious about Overgrad, please check out that segment. So just some things to remember. I think it's important to remind yourself that these students aren't reading these letters. They actually have to sign something, a FERPA statement stating that they are not allowed to look at the letter of recommendation before you submit it. I think that's important to remind yourself that you can be candid. Obviously, we always want to remain positive, but we should not be sharing these letters essentially with students until like around this time of their senior year. Like if students right now want to read the letters of recommendation that I wrote them, I am super happy to share them now that everything is done and said and they are enrolled in college. I think it's also important to remember that myself and my team are more than happy to edit any letters that you share with us. My colleague who is taking over for me as DCS, Ali Serena, has also worked in college success for many years, and she brings an expertise to the table for sure. And I know that she would be extremely excited to give you any feedback that you'd like on your letters and help you as much as possible. And she'll be here in June. And then finally, that you do have some time. So letters of recommendation are not due until September 15th. And so that does give you some time going into the end of this year as well as the beginning of next year to get those letters done so that we have them in time to work on the other parts of the college application with the students. I would also just say, not knowing what the fall looks like, I think it's really important that we keep these timelines because we might be supporting students in a virtual space. And so having these already for a student's applications are going to be key to their success. And that is the end of this segment. Please join me for the next, where we'll talk about formatting the letter, what to include, what not to include.